What you want to find is a feeling place that is resistant-free. And in finding a feeling place that is resistance-free, you're going to tap in not only to the power of the universe, but you're going to tap in to a stream of conscious thought that has been honed and discovered just for you, that will guide you step by step into action after action, all of which will be pleasurable on your way to more and more that you really want. When you tune into this, you don't have to have any highs and lows. You don't have to struggle. Most of the people who have made it into great success, the thing that they are most eager to tell you about when you want to talk to them about their success, if you are privy to having a personal conversation, almost all of them will go right back to the struggle that they lived, because somehow they still think that that struggle was inherently important to the success that they're now having. And in every single case, we want to say, flawed premise, flawed premise, flawed premise, flawed premise. It wasn't until you got over that you started letting the good stuff in. All that suffering does to you, all that moving in the direction of what you don't want does to you, is it in time makes you so weary of making that effort that doesn't work that you finally just give it up. And during all the process of all that struggle, you put so much into your vortex that when you finally give up the struggle, then all of this stuff that's all queued up for you begins to flow into your experience. That's where all of that success comes from every single one of them. There's not a person on this planet that has had this enormous success that you are all wanting to experience yourself, or at least wanting to note is successful for them, that if we were to visit with them, there isn't one of them that's an exception to what we just said. Every single one of them lived enough resistance and in the process created something wonderful. But at some point, they stopped focusing in the direction of the resistance. Maybe it was out of weariness. Maybe it was just because it was ridiculous. Or maybe, and here it is, maybe it's because in the process of knowing what they don't want, they know what they do want, they don't want, they know what they do want, they don't want, they know what they do want, they don't want, they know what they do want. And once this vortex gets really going with source energy, non-resisted source energy focusing upon it, when source energy is focused upon what you really want, that will win over your negativity if you have been going after it long enough. Well, that's a struggle that will bring success, but we think it is far more hard work than any of you need to do. Did you hear the distinction that we're making here? Hard work will get you to some of what you want, but why were you depriving yourself of so much pleasure while you were building your vortex when you could have been cashing in your chips any time that you wanted to? And the reason is because you've inherited from the generations before you the flawed premise that you have to struggle and you have to sacrifice in order to have success, and it just is not true. In the early days, we called this the science of deliberate creation, and everybody acted like, got to get this right. Suck it back. I said that. Let's suck it back before the universe gets hold of it. Didn't mean it. And so then we began putting more emphasis on the art of allowing. Now we're calling it receiving, being in the receiving mode. But you got to know that what you have created is ready for you to receive before you're willing to receive. And we think that sometimes you don't accept that it's already done. You really don't believe that when you ask it is given. Someone should write a compelling book. When you ask, it is given. When you ask, it is given. Let's say it how it really is. From your standpoint, it has been given. It's over there. You can relax and just enjoy the movie if it happens. Let's chew here for a minute. We're going to ask you, just give your answer in your mind, or you can speak it out if you want to. So we're going to ask you a couple of questions, and then we're going to give you a diagnosis of where you are vibrationally, depending upon what your answer was, all right? I would rather watch a movie, or I would rather make the movie, be the director of the movie. Which is it for you? You want to watch it, or you want to make it? It's a trick question, so be very careful. So now you kind of know what we want you to know. You want to watch the movie, but so here's the next question. Has your movie already been created by you? Or do you need to create it right now? So if your answer was, I want to create the movie, then you don't believe in the vortex, you don't believe it's done, you're still trying to earn something, Did that move you a little bit? Did that get something done for you? So here's some more questions. I like watching the movie that I've already created. It's satisfying to watch the movie that I've already created. When would you maybe not be in the mood to watch the movie that you've already created? When you're trying to prove worthiness, when you don't feel that you're enough, when somebody's been after you, when you feel like you need to do something. So what is it that is causing the diminishment of your awareness of who you really are? Well, you're taking your cues from other people who are not experiencing the pleasure of non-resistant thought, who are practicing the discord of resistant thought, who are holding you as their objects of attention and demanding things from you in order to make them feel better that you know you can't give enough things to somebody that's in that mode to ever make them feel better. Isn't that sort of the way it goes? Aren't you getting closer and closer to just giving it up? If someone expresses their dissatisfaction with you, don't you sort of want to say, I'm sorry that you don't feel good, and I hope you can work that out. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you to get over being mad at me without me doing anything. Because you don't want to train them into needing you to do something different. That's that quagmire. That's when you really get into that place of there's so many people that want so much from you, and you love them so much and you want to uplift them. And if they get the idea in their head that their happiness depends upon your behavior, they'll dog you to the ends of the earth. There's never enough. There's just never enough that they're going to need from you. And their dissatisfaction isn't that they're not getting it from you because you're giving them some of it. Their dissatisfaction is that they're not getting satisfaction from the only place that satisfaction comes, which is from their connection with their own inner being. This is a vibration that is rampant on this planet because people want to know what they can do that will improve their life experience, what action to take. What to do. In other words, most people are eager to do. They're eager to do. So they try doing this, and they try doing this, and they try doing this, and they often get the same results no matter what they're doing because they're doing it from the same vibrational premise. And so when you step back a little bit and you realize that your wonderful uplifting intention is not so much about what they do, but about how they feel, which will inspire the perfect doing in the moment. There's so much opportunity to do, and some of it will lead to what they want and some of it won't. And so how do you sort that out? That's the question that's vibrating within you. How do you know? Because someone could have had a bad experience with someone like that, and so you want to warn them off of that because that doesn't look like a very good idea to you, when in fact it could be exactly what this person is ready for at this moment in time. And so if you step away from trying to answer the question about what someone would do, how do you want to feel? What is it that you want to feel? It's a wonderful thing to activate within someone. What does a true feeling of prosperity feel like? That's a wonderful thing. But it's also a wonderful thing to activate within them. What kinds of things do you feel the best when you are involved in them? Because you can marry the two, and your wisdom is absolutely accurate and could not be more true. Follow what you want to do. Find something that you really want to do and do it, and the money will follow. But there's another question to stick in there ahead of that. How do you find what you really want to do? There are a lot of people that have a sense of what they want to do, but they don't know how to find it. And the reason they don't know how to find it is because they're trying to get there through the doing rather than through the feeling. And so if you're all about how do you feel, and you are practiced enough in your own meditation process to show yourself how you can allow your vibration to raise at will anytime you sit, and you say, you know, I've got a tool for you, a step for you that you may have not considered, or you may have overlooked, or you may have misunderstood, but this is where this all starts, and once you get the hang of this, it begins moving really fast. As you care more, as you get out ahead of it, and you get that positive momentum going before you're thinking any thoughts, now you have a much greater probability of getting the positive momentum going than if you're trying to overcome the negative momentum. We have interacted with so many of you, and we are at the place where we are no longer really interested in talking to you when you're in a negative place trying to turn it around, because it's so slow going, it hardly ever happens, it's annoying to everyone who's listening in. We just want to say to you, give it a rest. Stop talking about it and get out ahead of it. And there's two ways to get out ahead of it. Meditate and hook in and watch the movie if there is one, and segment and tend from a place of feeling good. And you'll notice big time the awesome power of non-resistant thought. If it's pleasurable, do it for the pleasure. If it feels good to get more detailed about it, feels good to add your insight and more details, then do it. Do it for the pleasure, not for the power. So when you said, would it be better? What'd you mean? Did you mean, would it be better for my pleasure, or would it be better for my power? Because if you're doing it for the pleasure, it's better. If you're doing it for the power, it'll bite you. Think about it. Isn't that how it goes? When you get on a roll like that, don't you want to think about it? Don't you want to talk about it? This is co-creation at its best. If you can get someone to realize that they have a vortex and that it is already taken shape and form, and you can get them to begin talking about some of the things that they want, then they can activate that. And even in the middle of your conversation, ideas will hatch. That's what a really good masterminding conversation is about. You've had many of those. That's who you are. You're a teacher to the very core of your being, but you're wanting to guide people toward how they feel, and then the impulse of what they want to do. Just remember, you're beings, you're not doings, you're beings. And let's take it a little further. You're feelers, you're not doers, you're feelers, you're feelers, you're feelers, you're tuners, you're not doers, you're tuners. You're tuners, you're sinkers, you're calibrators, you're energy awarers. You're aware of energy, you're calibrating energy. You're not doers. You take a lot of action if you are inspired to the action, but you don't do to fix things. You do because the feeling is so strong that nothing can hold you back from the doing of that. That's how you want to proceed in this life experience. And it is not that hard. By the time that we've had a few hours together, you'll be chomping at the bit to get out there and just let the universe surprise and delight you with all of the things that you've lined up.